am Beth Fynbo, and I have created the first ever placemat to stop babies from dropping and throwing their toys. The Busy Baby mat keeps your child busy and content so you can actually enjoy your meal. The mat is actually food grade silicone, and it has suction cups so it sticks to the table or the high chair, and it has tethers that allow you to attach toys so that they don't ever end up falling to the ground. You can use it on the side of the fridge to keep your baby in place while you're cooking, or you can use it on the bathtub wall to keep your baby entertained and in place while you're scrubbing them down. Another cool feature of the Busy Baby mat that I love is being able to color on it with washable markers. It's so easy to keep clean, and it also does not foster the growth of germs or bacteria.
My daughter was born prematurely, so I like it because I don't have to worry about germs when I take her places, shopping or to restaurants. I can put it on the high chair. I use it at home. When we go to the restaurant, it's mostly to keep her busy. When we go shopping, it keeps her from sucking on the handle. Yeah, it's very easy to clean. We just take it out of the dishwasher and we're ready to go.
I love getting emails from moms who have purchased the mat or messages on Instagram saying how much it has saved their life. I see a Busy Baby mat for the win a lot. Sometimes life is a little easier when you have a busy baby. My name is Beth Fynbo. I am the inventor, founder, CEO, president of Baby. I invented a placemat that stops babies from dropping, throwing their toys. And I have continued to grow my product line to include more products that make life a little easier with a busy baby.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
So I love, all right, so there's two folds of why I love that you're here. Number one, you're a badass woman. Let's just start right from there.
Ooh.
Number two, you're a creator. You hear so much about male creators. You don't hear that much about female creators. So I love that. And number three, the military aspect. So there's three different things that we're going to talk about. But before we even get to the product, I always say, in order to know your small businesses, you have to know the people in your neighborhood. In order to know the people in the neighborhood, you need to know who and where they come from. So where are you? Who are you all the way up to the time that you design the product? And you can take the slow route because we're here for a while.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff in this story. Okay. So I am in southern Minnesota. I am just outside of Rochester where the Mayo Clinic is. A lot of people have heard of the Mayo Clinic. I grew up about an hour from here. My dad is an entrepreneur. He had his own welding business when I was a kid. So I grew up sweeping his floors and doing work after school, mowing the lawn. And then after high school, I actually ended up joining the Army. So one of the things I knew from my dad is that I did want to have my own business. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be responsible for my own success and my own failure. But what he taught me is that it's really hard and there's going to be ups and downs. And so whatever you choose to be your own boss at, it has to be something you're really passionate about, because you're not going to get through those downs if you're not passionate. So, as an 18-year-old out of high school, I was not passionate about going to college, and I didn't have any ideas of businesses that I wanted to do. And so I joined the military, and I spent 10 years in the U.S. Army, traveling the world, all over the country, all over the world, and then got out of the Army after 10 years and came back to Minnesota eventually and settled down. And at the age of 40, I had my first baby. So it took me about 10 years to actually recover from being in the military, kind of to transition into being a regular civilian again. I went to school, I got a corporate job, I did the things I felt like I was supposed to do. And then I met Mr. Right and we had our first child.
Wait, we're going to pause. Okay, so this is exactly where we're going to pause.
Okay.
We're going to go back to your dad in welding and the small business that he owned. As a daughter, so I'm a daddy's girl. My dad passed away 6 years ago, but I will forever be a daddy's girl. And when I was doing my, and I was that person where I should have never graduated from high school, let alone the fact that I have 7 degrees now, but I should have never graduated from high school because I was all about being with people, but sitting in a classroom is not my thing. I love learning, but sitting in a classroom is painful for me. Everyone that was in my MBA class very little women, but every woman, I should say, every woman that was in my MBA class, which 130 women, 130 classmates, 10 women. It's crazy. All daddy's girls, all business oriented, all very, very, very focused. Not always the case, but the majority of the time that I meet a woman, I go, it's like the leading force of like why they started their businesses, because there was like a man that believed in her, that supported her, that gave her that bandwidth. So what did you see in that business? Like, so you were in your dad's shop, and yes, you're cleaning, but that's like a chore. What did you see in it where you're like, God, there's something in it that I really want for myself? And also, you're in the military for 10 years, you're traveling around the world. You could have done anything. What was that moment of, I need to find my passion, and how am I going to do it? Because you watched your dad with his passion. Sweeping his floors wasn't a passion, but you were watching him. Even by default, you're just watching him. Now it's your turn. It's your time. The military teaches you a lot of skill sets. And by the way, what was your skills what was your expertise while you were in the military?
I had 2 jobs. I did 5 years in military intelligence. I was a linguist. I translated and did electronic warfare. And then I changed jobs and became a military broadcaster. I did TV and radio.
There you go. Okay, so 2 things that don't even remotely come to close to what you're doing now or what your dad did. So because most entrepreneurs or most individuals that I have this job, I'm ready to leave, I want to do something. And every single education, every single skill that I have, doesn't give me it hasn't given me the vehicle, the lane to find that passion. So how did you discover yours? Because you just like dropped so many things. And yet I'm like, I don't even see a connection here at all. So can you talk about that? Like, how did you connect the dots for you, knowing you're around it? And also because in the military, Israel is known as startup nation. They get out of the military and they take all those skill sets and they build something. You were in the military, same exact thing. So with everything that you just mentioned and everything I'm asking, how did it happen?
There's a lot of stuff to unpack. I hate that word unpack.
And you know what? And I do that.
There.
Well, I do that because I want people to hear you, not me. It's not about me. This is about you. So I throw out a lot. I mean, I literally throw out a kryptonite of stuff for you to just like break it down for me.
All right. So the early days working for my dad, it was the freedom he had to do what he wanted when he wanted. He worked really hard. He worked all the time. It wasn't like he had time off, but he did it on his own terms. That's the only thing I really picked up then. But he was able to leave work and come to my softball games or my volleyball games. You know, he didn't have a boss telling him. It was only after 10 years in the military that I really understood what that freedom really meant, because I spent 10 years with the government telling me where I could live, where I could go, what I could do, what I should wear, what I should eat. I mean, 10 years of being told what to do and when to do it. I really kind of go back to that. Man, I really want the freedom my dad has. That's that part. Being in the military, what I relate to how I became successful in my business is you learn how to adapt and overcome. So you train for your job. I had multiple jobs. And then when you actually get deployed or you go on a training mission and you're doing this in real life and things don't go as planned, you don't have a choice but to figure it out. You have to. And so for 10 years, that was ingrained in me. So one story I like to tell about is when I was in Iraq. So I was a military broadcaster. I had a video camera, microphones, and satellite equipment to send whatever I created to the news station. Those things don't go well with dust. And I was in the desert. So we had trained in Egypt. We had planned and practiced being in a sandy desert environment. And then I get to Iraq. I've got dust cases on my equipment. I've, got all the procedures in place of how to keep my equipment working. Well, then the first dust storm came and it was worse. I'm in Minnesota. I have been through blizzards. Blizzards are awful. They are cold and free. I mean, just cold. You get pelted with the snow and the ice and it's horrible. You can't see anything. The sandstorms in Iraq are about 10 times worse. It was insane. And so our dust cases didn't hold up. My equipment was full of sand, didn't work. And I'm in Iraq. I have no choice. I can't just take it back to the office and get a new one or, order something new. You have to find a way to make it work. And that's the only option. And so that was ingrained in me. So now when I'm starting a business, which we'll get to how I got to a business, every step I take is figuring it out. There's no other option. You figure it out. You just, you train, you learn, you take classes, you ask for mentorship, you make a plan. But then when that plan doesn't work, you just figure it out. You find a different way. There's no quit in me. There's no option of, well, that didn't work. Shoot. It's okay. Well, how do I get around this? How do I get around that? You know? So now going back to how did I even end up in a business? When I got out of the Army, one of the things the military does is they hold your hand. You don't have to worry about insurance. When you feel like you need to go see the doctor, you go to the doctor. They give you medicine. You get a steady paycheck. You always have a place to live. You have essentially no responsibilities. You know, when I got out of the military, it all became about how am I going to pay rent, insurance, how am I going to like do all these things to take care of my life. And my life became about finding a good job that paid good money. That was what I thought my priority needed to be. And so I went to college. I got a degree in business management. I got a master's in project management. I, like you, just kept learning and actually got a cosmetology license. I got a license to sell insurance. I did all kinds of learnings and certifications, trying to find ways to make a secure, steady income like I had in the military. And I did that. I got a great corporate job. I was making 6 figures and I bought a house and I settled down, but I wasn't fulfilled. I still had this thing in me of like, I still had a boss telling me when to be at work, when to work, what hours I needed to work, even though you can get work done any hours of the day. Why do I have to do my work between 8 and 4 or 8 and 5? I didn't like it. But I was doing it. And that was providing my husband or fiance, we're been engaged for over 5 years now. We're getting married this summer finally. But he's a farmer.
Wait, did he watch the Adele special? I mean, because if he didn't, he should be like, he needs to step up his game.
It's not his fault, actually. It's my fault because I don't want to plan a wedding. I'm too busy planning my business.
Oh, all right. Then, all right. That's legit. All right.
It's my fault. It's totally me. But in any case, he's a farmer. And there's no insurance in farming. There's no security in farming. From year to year, depending on the weather, depending on the crops and how they grow, you have an undetermined amount of income. You may have no income. You may have a great year and have a ton of income. So I needed the stability of my corporate job. So I kept working my job. We got pregnant. We had our first son. I stayed home on maternity leave. And at 40 years old, I thought, well, I've got all this life experience behind me. I've got disposable income. I've read all the books. I've got all the apps. Like, I'm going to crush motherhood. Motherhood crushed me. I was not a good newborn mom. I didn't have a clue. I was emotionally a wreck. I'm sure now looking back, I probably struggled with some postpartum things, but it was hard. And when my maternity leave ended and I went back to work, I was actually really relieved. I was relieved to hand my kid off to daycare because I just couldn't take it. Like, it was so hard for me. And then when I got to work, I didn't like it. Like, I was like, I just like, my daycare lady is the one who's going to see the first steps or feed the first bites of food and do the things. And I think now is like, it is the time I need to come up with an idea, I need to find something to start my own business. So literally I'm driving to work the next day after I kind of made this declaration. I had gone to,
this is after day 2 of being back at work.
Yeah. And first I went to lunch, and this is kind of where my idea comes in, is I had gone to lunch with some girlfriends. They brought their little 1-year-old babies. The entire meal, these girls were cute, but it was a very busy place and they're constantly dropping and throwing and reaching, and we couldn't have a full conversation. And I kind of joked, I was like, we should make little T-Rex outfits for them that you can chain their elbows to their backs so they can't mess with everything. And then when the food comes, you just release them and then they can eat. Just
not a bad idea.
So then the next week I'm on my way to work, and on my commute, I used to pump while I drove. And so I'd have on the strapless bra and the pump thing. And I was like, oh, what if we had a way to attach something to a mat so that they could have their toys attached so that they wouldn't constantly dropping and throwing the things. And I was thinking of this with my pump and how it attached to my bra. So I got home and I actually took like silicone caulk that you use to, like, I don't know, caulk around your sink in your house. And I squirted it into the flange of my breast pump thing. And then I squirted it into like a baking sheet pan and I cut a little slit in it. And I tried to like test the functionality of doing something like that. And slowly that idea evolved over the next week or two. And I started buying stuff off of Amazon and cutting and gluing things together and buying suction cups. And for about 6 months, actually, I did that. just for myself. And then for one of my girlfriends. My best friend had a baby 8 days after me. And so I gave her, once I got my prototype, I didn't know it was a prototype at the time, but once I got it good enough, I made one for her. And she called me a little while later and she's like, oh my God, we went to the bowling alley last night. I forgot that mat thing. And it was awful. She's like, I didn't realize how much, like how useful that thing is until I didn't have it. She's like, you need to make this thing for real. And so that is when the light bulbs went off, everything started happening. And I was like, okay, yeah, how would I make this for real? How do I do that? And now here we are 4 years later and it's for real.
All right. So one, I love it because people disregard their pain point until there's a pain point. And then they literally go on Amazon or go online. They go somewhere to find how to solve it without realizing, hey, I can solve it myself. So I love
well, that's what I did. I went on Amazon.
You did go searching for it. Okay.
I looked all over. I was like, because I'm 40 with disposable income. I'm like, what can I buy? So my kid isn't this distraction. And I looked and there was nothing that would do what I wanted it to do, which was have a clean place for the food. So we're not putting the food on the table or dealing with plates, and also attach toys.
I love it. Okay. So for anyone that's out there that has an idea, what were the highs of this process and what were the lows in the process? You have a great paying job. You have a newborn. You have my honey bunny. Everyone, I mean, you have a team of individuals, but then you're like, I'm jumping ship and I'm going to start my company. So what were the highs with your humans as well as the process? And what were your lows with the humans and the process?
I love the humans. Not knowing all the things I didn't know and knowing that there was so much I didn't know was hard. But what it did, another thing I learned from the military was learning how to find and use resources. So one of the biggest highs that I had was being able to find the resources in my state to help me learn how to start a business. I took an entrepreneurship course for free. I got funding for free, like no interest, no payment loan for 18 months to be able to start to, fund starting up my business. So there was some great highs as far as, mentorship, resources holding my hand and helping me learn how to do this. The lows were during the whole process of product development and taking my product to market. We were also trying to have a second baby. We wanted to have a sibling for our son. And because of my age, we knew the clock was ticking. I was over 40. And so we took a long time to get pregnant and then suffered a miscarriage and then went through fertility and then a high risk pregnancy, during this whole last, the next 2 years. So that was definitely hard. And managing, how do I make sure I set aside time for my son and my fiance, because I guess he counts too. But it was, every day I'm still working my corporate job. I just quit my corporate job this summer. I've been working the corporate job the whole time. You went through
you went all through this while having a full-time job.
Yeah. Had to pay the bills,
and I say it as in, I'm not surprised, but it is a surprise to most because a corporate job, trying to have a second child, having a spouse, having an infant, starting a business. Those are 5 not small things.
I look back and I'm like, how on earth did I do that?
How did you do it? How did you get up in the morning and get it done?
I did a lot of time blocking and I did a lot of squeezing things in the gaps. So 4 to 7 every day, I picked my son up at daycare until 7 o'clock when I put him to bed. That is family time. So I wouldn't feel guilty. I wouldn't feel bad. I would get my time with my son and I wouldn't miss out on him growing up. So that was important. And I knew that's the time it doesn't get messed with. Then while I'm working my corporate job, I'm still checking my busy baby emails. Sometimes it's in the bathroom during bathroom break. And a lot of times it's over my food while I'm eating lunch and I'm doing busy baby stuff at lunch. Sometimes it was, I got to daycare 10 minutes early to pick up my son. So let me knock out a few more emails or phone calls while I'm there. It was squeezing it in every chance I could.
But you're still trying to have a child as well.
Yeah. Which I mean, that only takes a few minutes a day. So
it's true. Injection. Totally get that one. March 2020, the pandemic, the world, not just the unlike in 2008, 2009, when there was a recession, the world is shut down.
The world stopped. Yep.
The world stops. Something that is, again, epic in every single way, but even more so when you own a business. So what did it do for you now? Like we are in that pandemic mode. You're still working and you're still running. I mean, everything that we just mentioned is still happening, but now let's throw in the element of the world is shutting down. What did that do for you professionally and personally?
In the end, it's a great thing. But at the time, so I had baby number 2 in January of 2020, end of January. And so I had also just gotten my first products in retail packaging. So I've been doing e-commerce. I send it through the mail. You don't need a fancy box to send somebody a product in the mail. I had just gotten my first retail packaging. I had just had a baby. So now I'm on maternity leave again. And my plan was, once I recovered from having the baby, then I would be loading up my vehicle and going from store to store to store with my retail boxes to try and get them in stores.
So your plan was to leave. So your plan was to leave your job at that point, January 2020.
No, I was gonna do whatever I could do during maternity leave.
Okay.
To get more. So my plan was to leave my job whenever the business was making enough money to replace my income. We weren't even close. And so this was now going to just be travel from expo to expo, like I had done the year before, getting in front of new parents, demonstrating the products, selling them at expos, and then getting into retail stores. Well, I'm marketing a product to be used in restaurants and trying to go into stores. Now restaurants shut down, stores shut down. And now my marketing plan of going to expo, there's no more travel and no more expos. So basically all my plans were ruined. But I just quickly changed the direction of how I marketed my product, because it's actually super useful at home. I didn't go out to eat hardly ever. So for me, I use my busy baby mat at home every day on the high chair. I found ways to use it. I got customers saying, as soon as the pandemic started, like, oh, thank God I have my busy baby mat. It keeps my baby busy during my 30-minute Zoom call, so baby can be here sitting next to me playing and not fussy and needing anything because they have a busy baby mat to keep them busy. So it's like, oh, I'm going to just start marketing all the ways you can use this at home. And then I took all my travel budget and put it into Facebook ads. I hired a professional to really run ads the right way. And we saw 800% growth during the pandemic, insane growth. And it wouldn't have happened had the pandemic not forced me to pivot my entire marketing strategy.
Well, it was a twofer though, because you hired someone that was an expert. Number one thing that you just said, that's huge, because too many times people want to do it themselves. And you're taking all that energy from what you do, what you love, your passion, to learn something new that's not your lane. So I always tell people, what you just said is huge. Investing. Well, you took the money and reinvested it in a different way. It's not like it was new money. It was reinvested. Yep.
And that's the thing that I'm so, the pandemic's horrible. I'm not glad the pandemic happened, but the way that it helped me was it forced me to do that, because I was the kind of entrepreneur, like most, that feels like I have to do all the things. I'm the one who needs to do it. I'm the one that has, sorry, someone's here. I'm recording
if you have to, I always, timing. We have people that come in all the time. So if you have to stop and pause, go ahead.
No, do that. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
They can wait just a little bit. There's water outside. Anyway, I was the kind of entrepreneur that felt like I had to do all the things. I'm a startup. I can learn how to do this. I just have to grind harder.
Yep.
And then when I had the budget to shift and pay someone to do it and then saw the results, it's like, why would I waste my time learning something that I'll never become an expert at? You have to continually learn and follow, and the algorithm changes and the policy changes and all these things. I'll never keep up with that channel. And then there's a million other things that now we pay other people to do, because you let the experts do it and you see much greater returns than when you try to do it yourself.
That's so, oh my God. I wish you could just wear a mask and just say this over and over again. I tell people all the time, where invest, because you can't be everything to everyone. You can't learn new things. And especially when it comes to digital marketing, it changes so often. Even for us, I hire people where people are like, you're a marketing firm. I'm like, I'm marketing humans. I mean, look, when I say the humans, I work with individuals, CEOs, founders of your team.
Yeah.
I work with individuals that want to grow their skills. I don't work with mechanisms. There's someone else that's out there that wants to do that and loves that.
Enjoys it. Yes.
Let them absolutely.
Yes. I say the same thing about social media posting. For my business, it's really important to be consistent on social media. I don't enjoy it. I don't like coming up with copy and images, but there's people who love it and are great at it and can do it as a stay-at-home mom and put it into their day. And so I pay someone to do that, and it takes that time off my plate, and she loves it, and it helps bring her income, and we all win.
Oh my God, it's a win-win. So the highs and the lows, but in regards to I was gonna say, because I want to make sure that we hear your clear highs and the lows. Wow, we heard the highs and lows. When you are starting a business, you are your worker bee, you have a family, you're looking to other people and you're trying to grow. So I found you because so I work very closely with a lot of veteran groups. And so whenever there's really cool people, I mean, I get a list of like all the amazing vets that are out there. And I am so in awe of you guys, because I mean, I put you guys in the same bubble, and I know this is weird, but I put you in the same bubble as a hockey player. So wait, let me get this straight. You have a stick in your hand, you're skating backwards, and you're watching a little tiny little puck. Oh, okay. I go, I feel like the military, like you come out of the military, you have all these skill sets, and you come out and you're just like creating a whole new array of skill sets, and you're still nailing it. And you take care of your community. When you're in the military, we're all different arms, but when you're outside the military, you are a family. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I love the most about like the military community, how no matter what country I've ever been to, you guys take really good care of each other while you're building other things.
That you bring up a really interesting point about the military, the things that I love about it. And the one thing that I love about the military, and I always advocate for veterans, because no one knows how to learn new skills better than a veteran. Because if you look at all the jobs in the military, no one goes into the military with the ability to do the job that they end up doing. I didn't know how to be a broadcaster. I didn't know how to speak Russian or Serbo-Croatian. I didn't know how electronic warfare worked, but I learned all that stuff. Everyone who goes into the military gets a job doing something. They have no clue what to do. And you learn how to learn. So when you leave the military, veterans are amazing at learning new things and just tackling them. And so any employer should hire a veteran, because it doesn't matter if they have the experience or the right resume, they can learn it. And then, like you said, we support each other, because that's what you do in the military. You finish your task, you're not just done. You help the person next to you until everybody's done. And then as a group, you're done. And so it just makes sense to do that in regular life.
Well, it's one of the things that you didn't mention, but I'm going to reiterate, is that when you're in the military, every single arm, you guys are like, you're supporting each other, but you're like going to make fun of each other, or you're going to like, ride each other. But when you're outside, it's civilians versus the vets. And the way that you take care of each other is amazing as well, because no one wants to see another person in the armed forces fail.
Right.
Yeah, which is really, really fantastic. So going back to the pandemic, we're still in it. It's 20 plus months. It's going to be, I mean, we're living with COVID. We're going to be living with the pandemic. The ripple effect of the pandemic will continue to go on. What happens now to you in regards to your industry? So like right now you are in an industry of your product development. You're building up from there. And literally I'm going to go back to your past life as well when it comes to this, because you're not just developing one product, you're going to be developing multiple products. But there's so much noise out there. There's so much products. The next wonder baby thing. And then a baby ages out, and then you have this product, and then I throw it away. And then there's just again, more noise, more trash, more, etc. So how do you fit into this world of too much stuff out there? Is it the right stuff? I mean, goodness gracious, the diaper genie, I swear to God, if I see the diaper genie one more time, I lose my mind, because the first time baby owner gets one, and then the second baby owner, like, why do I have a roll of sausage full of poop? So does that make sense? Your product, how do you evolve your products that way it stays with the family a longer term versus just short term and just ends up in the ether of trash or in the garage or in the attic?
Yes. So my products are all 100% food grade silicone. So it is a more sustainable material. It's not, it does not go bad. It doesn't lose its color. It doesn't lose its shape. It is great. And so I use my mats with my babies until they were 3. My 2-year-old still eats from his every day. We don't need the tethers anymore. We don't need tie toys. We're past that. Yep. But it's a clean, safe place that's easy for me to throw his food on it. It helps him learn to eat because it's not sliding around. It's not, it's easy to just rinse off in the sink, use it till it's 3. I'm actually using one of my original mats from my almost 5-year-old with my 2-year-old. So it goes all the way through all your babies. And then when you're done with it, it's still like brand new. If you like silicone, you can boil it with vinegar and water and it's literally brand new. So then you can just give it to your mom friends. Like it's not going to go bad. And babies are born every single year, 4 million a year in the US. So it's, you know, I think I've maybe not quite hit 1% of the population so far in my sales. I mean, there's a huge market and it keeps regenerating. And then as far as development goes, I'm now addressing needs that I have with my toddler that aren't being met. So I'm watching my 4-year-old learn how to write in preschool and seeing my 2-year-old be interested in wanting to do it. And I'm developing a product to help 2 to 5-year-olds learn how to write. So it's just, you know, whatever I'm learning from my kids and needs that I can't meet, you know, in my life is what I'm going to keep doing to keep growing.
This is one of the things where I think that's where that whole entire concept of I love to learn. I mean, that whole entire concept of like I go learn, like being in a situation to learn. I'm going to rewind the clock a little bit because you touched upon something that I didn't talk about yet, but I want to go back to. And actually kind of like fits in here. You're teaching your kids a new language, as in like the writing is a whole new language. You were in phonics. You spoke, how many languages do you speak?
I don't speak them anymore because you lose practice, but it was Russian and Serbo-Croatian.
Okay. You didn't go to school for that?
Nope.
How do you go into a situation where, because like as a child, you're not me, but as a child, they are learning how to understand the English language. They're learning how to understand how to write their own names. So you're in another country and, you're in the military and you're going to these other countries. How are you taking the skills of how you learned how to speak language to put it into what you're going to do in regard to teaching your kids how to speak a language and understand the language?
You know, I don't know if I'm directly or indirectly referencing that consciously. I'm really just reacting to what I see in my sons. And so seeing my firstborn coming home from preschool and seeing what he's excited about and seeing what he struggles with, I'm just trying to take those things and make something that highlights and makes more fun the things he likes about it, and then solves the problems of where he struggles.
How did you do that when you had to do it for a job?
I don't know. You just did it. You just do it. I mean, you just figure it out. When I was in Italy, I was stationed in Italy, didn't know the language, didn't know the customs, the rules, the laws. I just would drive around and get lost and try to find my way back home to the base. And I would go to restaurants and try and figure out how to order food and how to eat. And then eventually made some Italian friends. And then you figure it out, I guess.
And by the way, those little steps that you just said, that's not, most people don't do that. That's pretty, well, it is one of those, like saying the word, figure it out. It really is something that most people don't know how to do, like, because they want steps. They want someone to like lead them to the water. You just said to me clearly, like, I got myself lost on purpose. I went to restaurants and tried to figure out eating food. You found ways where like, this for me is like, you were with the people. You got yourself engaged with the people. You put yourself in situations where like, I need to get back home eventually. How am I going to do this? And I'm probably going to have to ask someone for directions. I'm going to have to read signs. And so this is why like my brain is like hearing what you've done. And I'm like, okay, so I could see how she's doing the same thing for her children in regards of, I'm going to help you figure it out. I'm like, am I going to throw you in a car and say like, get home? No, but I'm going to, although very
I have
funny.
threatened my son to let him out and have him walk home. I will say I've threatened.
You will figure it out. But it is a great way because I think that's one of the things that, again, going back to that starting a business, most entrepreneurs They have the idea, they have the passion for the thing, but all the other assets of how do I get it out there? They want someone else to do it for them.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen that a lot. I mean, I see entrepreneurs that just want help getting pointed in the right direction. I've mentored some entrepreneurs that I got an update yesterday from someone who's like, I did what these things you asked. She's another veteran, actually. So that's why probably why she's successful. And here's what I've achieved. Now, what's the next steps do you think I should take? And then I can give her guidance. And then I have other people that I mentor who just ask me, what do I do? Can you do it for me? Can you make the introduction? Can you design my packaging? Can you, and no, I'm not going to do that.
I was gonna say, you already have a business. You can't run another business.
No, I don't have time for that. I'm happy to help anybody anytime with mentorship, but I can't do things for people at this point.
So you have the second product. And that's the reason why I wanted to go back to like you with the languages, because you mentioned that product. So you have the second product, but where does the industry overall go? Because I mean, again, I feel like there's so many things that are constantly coming. The great thing is less from Asia because we can't get it here. So people in the United States are finally like getting back to their roots of creating. But where does it go from here? I mean, because the Toys R Us's are closed, although some of them are being opened in Macy's or something like that, as what I heard. But so all these products are being developed. Where do you believe you will fit into as the evolution of brand new products in the children's line comes in?
Yeah, I mean, if I had my way,
or I should say, where do you want to be?
Yeah, my dream and what I keep hearing from customers that I want to be the standard is this is a must-have baby registry item. This is, and everything is electronic. I've been through an accelerator program with Target. I've been working on getting into retail stores, but the importance of doing that has gotten lower and lower and lower because e-commerce, because of the pandemic, is the way to go. Your e-commerce is the only place you really need to be. People go online and order everything, even if it is through target.com. So I feel like getting into retail is not a route anymore, but I do think being on registries for a baby product is the place that I need to be. And where I want to be, like there's a Sophie the giraffe, and there's a certain, breastfeeding pillow, and there's certain things that are on everybody's baby registry. I want the Busy Baby mat to be that thing. And then where else can I go from here is there's a whole nother market of people with a need that is being met that could be solved by my mat. And that is the aging population. And those with disabilities like Parkinson's, those living in assisted living facilities, because they've got these dining rooms where they all go to eat, they're understaffed. And so, great Uncle John drops his fork, and how long does it take before someone notices and can get him a new fork to finish his meal? There's a lot of uses for my product in that, community. And I haven't even touched it yet. So there's a whole nother market that I can grow into at some point.
I love the fact that you even thought that the whole entire concept of scalability, because that's one of the things where people just stay in their lane. They just want to do one thing until they see someone else in their market space. And they're like, oh, well, what else can I do? Or they think about different ideas and concepts. They don't think about how to go about it. And I love the fact that you even started thinking about that. This is why you should definitely get into AARP. I'm pushing everyone towards AARP. No, you know what the thing is, because
I get letters from AARP all the time.
Dude, I'm of the age of AARP, and so I don't even know what to do with it because I have a baby face. And so of course they were like, "Well, how old are you?" I go, "Well, I'm 52 years old." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I know, I'm weird." I go, but I look at it, and 52-year-olds don't look like. Remember, like a 30-year-old when we were younger. 30-year-olds.
Oh my gosh,
they looked old. They looked old. They didn't age well back in the day. So now everyone, you don't know how old people are. They all are aging better. They're like taking better care of themselves. But in regards to the diseases that are, whether it's cancer, whether it's Parkinson, I mean, all these things, you can't hide from that. That's not an age. It doesn't discriminate against age. And so to be able to have that conversation in AARP or any of these senior living things, these are real conversations. Even when you're going to a children's hospital and you're seeing kids they're in the hospital for quite some time. And these are these items that they could be using, which would be so very beneficial for them.
Yeah. At some point we're going to have to sell. So I run the company with my brother, who's also an Army veteran. And at some point we're going to have to sell out to someone bigger and better who can manage, because we're doing our best to keep up in the baby space, and we're not even cracking, like we're just barely cracking the surface of what can be accomplished in the baby space. So to even like, I can think about and dream about and plan for this, like these other markets, but I can't keep up in the market I'm in. I need to grow into a strategic company that can kind of take over and help further develop these things.
You just mentioned your brother, which of course I knew it in the back end, but I was just waiting. I'm like, she hasn't mentioned her brother yet. Let's just talk about that. How is it to, all right, so you're both vets. I mean, was your dad a vet, or your dad or mom? Okay. So you're a vet family, a military family, I should say. And your brother is out, and then he decides to, like, who decides to like ask first? Do you want to? Oh my gosh.
So we also haven't talked about Shark Tank. So my brother has 4 children. He's the sole breadwinner for the family because daycare, and his wife is the best, homemaker and mom that there could possibly be. He had a very secure job managing Dick's Sporting Goods stores, on track to be a district manager and, really good at his job. I was in Vegas waiting to film Shark Tank in 2020 and overwhelmed. I had just hit $400,000 in sales for the year. It was just me. I was still working my full-time job. My second baby was 8 months old.
Did I mention you're a badass? I mentioned that, right? Holy crap. I don't
know how I did these things. Looking back, I really don't.
I'm gonna pause you. So literally when people are here, like I go, how come Jodi didn't mention Shark Tank? Because what I do is I don't research anyone that I'm talking to. This is your time to talk. So I know that I book you, and then after that, I know nothing else until the day of. And so this is one of the things where I let you open it up. So I
was on Shark Tank.
Okay, you're on Shark Tank. So you're at work. You hit 400K. You're in Vegas for Shark Tank. Oh my God, my head's spinning.
My head was spinning too. And so my baby was 8 months old. it was like a dream, this Shark Tank thing during a pandemic. We were quarantined for 8 days in a hotel room suite, a gorgeous, beautiful suite with room service every day. Could not leave my room, could not even open the door except to get my room service. If I needed ice, I had to call somebody, they would drop it outside the door. So for 8 days, I had no crying babies, no butts to wipe, no food to make, nobody to clean up after. It was heaven. But I had all this time then to focus on my business. And so as I'm sitting there strictly focused 12, 16 hours a day, what else am I going to do in this room? I'm overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelming myself because I was also competing in business competitions. I think I won $60,000 that year as well. In business competitions. And so I was on the phone with my brother doing a kind of a rehearsal practice for my pitch for Shark Tank. And I joked with him. I was like, you should sell your house. He lives about an hour away. Live in your camper on my property and help me run my business. Like, quit your job, sell your house, just like for a year or two until we can sell it.
Wait, with the 4 kids in the camper?
Yep. Oh yeah, they love it. They're a camping family. They love it. And he's like, haha. And I was like, and your kids can like work. And he's like, yeah, I'm not against child labor. Like, it would be pretty fun. And we're kind of joking. Like, it's not very realistic that would actually happen. And I get off the phone with him and I was like, you know what? He is the right person, because I knew I didn't have the bandwidth to be CEO, because I'm doing my full-time job and I have a baby, and I needed to hire someone, but I don't trust people that I don't know. And no one is going to love and take care of my business the way I do.
Yep.
And to hire the person with the skills needed to run my company and grow it is a 6-figure job. I didn't have, I can't hire a stranger and pay them 6 figures and feel good about it, not knowing. And
not knowing that if they're going to help you or hurt you.
Yeah. But my brother, he's going to be as invested in this as I am. Yep. He loves me. He loves, he's proud of me. He has helped me with the business whenever he can. I can trust him completely. We work really well together. We have alternate, our skill sets complement each other. Mm-hmm. So I basically spent the next 2 weeks trying to convince him to quit his job. It was fourth quarter at a retail store, so he gave them 90 days notice to get through fourth quarter. And then in January of this year, he joined me full time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How does your dad see this now? Where I go, wow, my 2 kids are working together. with
Yeah.
a brand new product line. Like I go, what are his thoughts? What are both your parents, I should say, not just your dad?
Oh God, he's so proud, and he's still helping us so much. I know we're almost out of time, but my favorite story is I had recorded Shark Tank. I knew that there was a chance that it would not make it on air. They tell you over and over again, just because you recorded doesn't mean you're going to make it on air. They overshoot because they sell, 22 episodes to the network with the option to buy 2 more.
Gotcha.
People who record maybe duds, it might not be interesting at all. So they overshoot. So just because you record doesn't mean you're going to be on the air, but they don't tell you that you're going to be on the air until about 10 days prior.
Okay.
So for me to get products, like if I'm going to be on the air, I'm going to sell a ton of stuff because people are going to go online. But if I don't have the stuff, I'm not going to sell any. So I took this huge risk and I bought $500,000 worth of product and stocked up. At the time, my dad was retiring out of his shop building, his welding building that we had grown up in, and moving out to his home. He built a little welding shop at home now so he can retire.
Entrepreneurs never retire.
Right. Nope. He's working harder now, I think. But his 5,000 square foot building was being emptied out. We needed a space to put all of our inventory. So my brother had just quit his job, just started with me. We've got $500,000 worth of inventory in my dad's shop. And I have no idea if I'm going to be on Shark Tank or not, but we're hoping so. And so we had just received a container of product. We unloaded it, organized it at the shop, and the 3 of us went out for lunch. And before I hit the road to go home after lunch, I thought, well, let me check my email quick. And there was the email saying March 5th air date for Shark Tank. And I just started bawling, like the amount of relief I felt that now I know like it's going to be okay. We're going to sell this stuff. I'm going to be able to pay my brother. Like our dad is here. It's all to like the shop we grew up in is going to be our like fulfillment warehouse for the next 2 months. It was like a full circle, amazing moment. And even now my dad is actually here. He drove an hour to come help us. We're doing all this from my house still. So I think 4 million in sales this year so far out of my house.
Yes.
We are bootstrapping like you wouldn't believe. So I've got a shed full of product, but we are in Minnesota and didn't realize the effects of winter. So we need a new tractor that has an enclosed cab, because trying to move products around and plow the driveway so the USPS truck can come up and all this stuff in the winter is horrible on a tractor that has no cab. So we're getting a new tractor. The tractor won't fit in the shed. So my dad is raising the doorway and the ceiling of the shed so our tractor will fit in there.
So how many people do you have on your team now?
My brother and I, we have a full-time fulfillment person and a part-time fulfillment person, and then we contract everything else out.
Awesome.
And then my dad.
Like literally, I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you, because I mean, like you're at home. Again, I'm just gonna keep saying this. Ready for it? Badass.
Oh, thank you.
Like the honesty.
Looking back at it, it's like, holy cow, yeah, that's pretty badass stuff I did.
Yeah, like
I'll take it.
And this has been for 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. When people say it can't be done, you're saying that it can be.
Yeah. But you gotta have the drive to figure things out. I think that's the number one thing. You gotta figure things out. You gotta find a way.
All right. So I just want to make sure I went down my checklist here. We talked about your youth. We talked about your family. Talked about why you started the business. We talked about your past careers. We talked about the future of your company. We talked about how you're going to scale. Is there anything? Who's your perfect customer? Yes, I know. Babies. Yes, parents. But is there anyone else that? Oh,
the
good.
grandmas.
Yeah,
it's the grandmas and aunts. They are the best because they know. They like first-time moms don't know the pain of the dropping and the throwing. The grandmas do. And the grandmas want to do everything they can to make life a little bit easier with their grandbaby. And so the grandmas are the best customers. They get it. They want to spoil a grandbaby. So we sell a lot of accessories that go with the mat and teething toys and rattles. And so grandmas love to come and get gift packages, and they're so nice. And it's my favorite customers are the grandmas. Okay, so there you go. The grandmas, for all the grandmas out there, this is like we are speaking directly to you. Okay, all right. So as the time has come, I always tell people this is not the last time I will talk to you. There will always be other times that I talk to you that I will say, like, I go, hey, Beth, are you available? I will bring other people together so that way we can have conversations. But
this is the end of today, but I ask the same question, no matter how many times we talk, I will always ask the same, we'll always end the same way, which will be, if you had a personal ask and a professional ask of anyone that's listening to you right now, what is your personal ask and what is your professional ask? They have to be separate and they can't be the same.
Dang it. Okay. Professional ask is, and you know this because you're in marketing. Marketing is hard. I was on Shark Tank. People still have no clue what I was on national television. People still have no idea what my product is. And you also have bad customers that just user error, don't know how suction cups work and say bad things about you online. So my biggest ask always is follow us on social media. Like, share, comment on our posts. If you see anything about Busy Baby, share it. Tell your coworkers, your relatives that have babies, your friends that have babies, share, help us spread the word that these products exist. So that's my professional ask. My personal ask, the biggest thing I can am struggling with is how to handle 4-year-old emotions. Oh. 4 years old, almost 5, developing emotions. If anyone has tips and tricks on how to not murder a child that's having emotions and doesn't know how to deal with them and won't listen to reason, I could use any parenting tips on 4 to 5-year-old emotions.
We hear about the terrible 2s. We hear about the 3s. I've never heard about the 4s.
4 has been the hard. I love 2. 2 with my new one is 2 now, almost 2, and the first one when he was 2 was fine. Oh. 4 is when he has started experiencing emotions and he doesn't know what they are. They come up out of nowhere. I've figured out the ones that come out of hunger or sleep deprivation, and I can address those. But the emotion, it's just learning emotions and how to respond to them. I haven't figured that one out yet.
I love that you even brought that up because I don't have any children as of yet. And that's something I've never thought about, because you think about teenagers with the emotions and the hormones and things like that. You never think about, and of course that would make sense, but no one ever talks about it. They just assume, they're being naughty. And so, that's a good one. I do. Yeah, like
one of the things that hit home is because sometimes he gets so mad that I'm just like, go sit in your room until you calm down and find a better attitude. Yeah. Well, if my partner was that upset about something, would I tell him to go sit by himself until he figures it out? You sure wouldn't. No. And so that was a tip that I got recently, that when my 4-year-old is experiencing some heavy emotions, I'm not going to send him off to figure it out on his own. Like, I'm tempted, stop crying, go sit in your room until you're done crying and then come back out with a better attitude. No, I'm going to sit with him and let's figure out, why are you upset? How would I talk to my spouse? Now, I'm going to talk to my 4-year-old that way and understand, what's wrong, honey? Let's talk about it. How can I help you?
Yeah. You know what? I have to say, I do like that, because it is true where they're too young to understand what's going on. When I have my friends with their preteens and they're just getting their period and they're like, I don't know why I'm bawling. I don't know. Yeah. Things are happening right now and I just don't know. And then boys, same thing. We're like, I don't know why I want to be alone. I just don't know. Yeah. Yeah. That one's a good one for me. I love that one, because now I'm like, I will look at my friends' kids in a whole different way. So, yay.
Well, it's been fun talking to you. This is the most fun I've had in one of these, Zoom chats.
I tell people, I'm a former media person, but I'm curious. I'm a dangerous 10-year-old at any given time, because I see things and I'm like, well, I need to know and understand the puzzle. I need to understand how and why. But also, I always say, this is earned media. I used to be a former media person. You deserve to be in a different audience. You deserve to be seen to other people. And so to give you an hour plus of you time is very important to me, because when I was in the media, it was back in the day when you had Barbara Walters time or Walter Cronkite time. You got to talk, not these quick little sound bites that really great, but not so great. Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate it so much. Professional ask of you, if you have any people still in the media world that you're in contact with who think, you could tell them I got a really fun story. I'd love to help getting more word out there. Well, that, and also because I do really take care of the vets. I have a lot of friends I have a lot of relatives that are vets. I have a lot of friends that are vets. I have friends that are in the military. And I just want to make sure that you guys are taken care of as well, because sometimes people just hear the negative things about someone that's a vet. And I'm like, I go, you know what? That's just like such a small piece of news that gets a lot more attention. And I'm like, and I want to get all the amazing news. And so I've had a few amazing badasses on the podcast, and then each time you guys have the most funnest stories. And I'm like, oh my God, if it wasn't for a boot camp, I would have gone to the military, but I don't like being yelled at. I had strict parents. I don't want it. Yeah.
Well, you're amazing for supporting veterans, because it's awesome.
You're wonderful. Beth, until next time, my friend. All right, bye.
Bye.
Even though they're little, taking care of a busy baby is a big responsibility. Uh-oh. But life is a little easier when you have a busy baby mat. Get yours at busybaby.com. As you know, motherhood has its ups and downs. Uh-oh. Whether it's bending down and picking up, or wiping down and cleaning up, or breaking down and almost giving up. Yeah. Hang in there, Mom. Uh-oh. There is a better way. Busy Baby products were designed by a real mom to help make life easier for the rest of us. The Busy Baby mat is a first ever placemat to keep toys within reach and off the ground, using 4 silicone suction cups. The mat attaches onto many surfaces such as a high chair, tabletop, glass, the bathtub wall, and more, as long as the surface is clean and non-porous. With Busy Baby, gone are the days of constantly picking up your child's toys. Busy Baby's genius silicone tethers keep toys within your kiddo's reach. Plus, it's made from 100% FDA-approved food-grade silicone, which is super safe and easy to clean. Busy Baby also has a mini mat for use at home or on the go. Visit busybaby.com today. Also, now that your busy baby is happy, you can finally focus on yourself. No, don't drop. No. Saved. Busy Baby puts an end to the sippy cup drop with the bottle bungee. It securely connects a cup or bottle to the Busy Baby mat and can be used almost anywhere else on its own, so that favorite beverage is always within reach. Visit busybaby.com today and let Busy Baby save the day for you too. When baby wants to learn to eat independently, you have to pick up spoon splatter off the floor every 14 seconds. 13, 14. Uh-oh. The Busy Baby 2-in-1 teether and training spoon soothes teething gums and allows babies to discover how to feed themselves. The biggest difference the Busy Baby mat has made is at mealtime. It allows your baby to be a part of the social aspects of your life. Activities like brunch, dinner, or play dates. I don't feel bad about taking baby out. And the social interaction is great for the both of us. You can bring and feed your babies anywhere. I seriously use this thing everywhere. So good. Busy Baby is a veteran-owned family business. Beth, the real mom who invented these genius products, was even featured on Shark Tank. She teamed up with her brother Eric to develop quality products that make parenthood, well, easier.
I invented the Busy Baby mat, and I run Busy Baby with my brother Eric.
Our mission is to create quality products that make parenting babies a little easier.
As Army veterans, we appreciate your support of our family business. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
If you want your life to be a little easier with your Busy Baby, go to busybaby.com today.